approximately 50% of the time.
Well,
So that
we've
we're
got to
talking
work on
something
that.
else.
Yeah, we've got to figure out a game plan for follow-up and, I mean, well, we wouldn't know. unless
Sometimes he plays
Garfield
darts
would have to
at
have a
other
list
places.
of
Tuesday nights they're dart night.
The court.
Sometimes
yeah,
he
the
plays
tickets coming
darts
in,
at other
who's
places.
paid and who
They're in a
hasn't.
league.
But I'm sure they have a procedure for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it appeared to me that it was open.
I don't know that they do.
I mean, because that would be all the communities then being upset that it's not paid for. Because you hear people saying, I'm not gonna pay it, I'm not gonna pay it. You know, because it doesn't affect anything. But I think it does, down the road, will affect people's credit or
Whatever,
whatever
I
it
think
is.
I know
We're
what you're
live
talking
if he
about, and I
wants
don't
to
wanna
check.
bring it up out here, but I wanna
Yeah.
talk to John about that later.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't wanna bring it up
Okay.
publicly.
That's, oh, okay.
Well, you know, if you're talking about what I'm thinking,
Probably,
you're talking about.
probably,
Something about the cameras?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
That was Jennifer.
He said, I can't find my tea. What did I do? Got lemonade tonight. I said, I got lemonade tonight.
Well, either way, that was nice to see.
We do live stream everything, so. This is why I get to go home and watch. I watch myself. Oh, you have?
I did.
You could be like my daughter, my son-in-law, when they're bored on that night, they say, Dad, I watch it for entertainment. I said, Emily, thanks.
Something's wrong with that camera, though. It keeps taking the top of my head off. Then-
It's the shine that's reflecting.
Oh, my gosh. Did I lock someone out?
Melissa.
Yes, you
Oh,
did.
I'm sorry, Melissa.
You can't have a meeting without Melissa.
No, thank you.
She still doesn't want to sit up here with us.
The nameplate.
No, I thought she was gonna get you a nameplate, but we've made some nameplates, you can't even tell the difference.
Yeah, I got eaten in the printer.
You will have a nameplate next month.
Okay.
That's our COVID
Next
screen.
year's budget.
Yeah, that's,
Now I am.
My name
Okay.
was made out of paper, and they were gonna make me a plastic official one. I said, well, where's the money? We need the money here already.
I'm ready.
Get it.
Yes, she
Pass
is.
it for something else changed.
Looks
No, it's great, you guys.
Wow, when you
Beautiful.
did, yeah.
It's all great. Okay,
No one there.
Fred, Diane, Jennifer, Ray, Brian, you ready?
yes, sir.
Nikki, John, okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Village of Walton Hills, Tuesday, December 17th, 2024 at 6:08 p.m. Okay, next order of business is Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to also welcome anybody that's watching the live stream. Okay, roll call, Nikki?
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Present.
All of council present, along with our fiscal officer, Nicole Sell, our law solicitor, John Montello, and our fiscal clerk, Melissa Sangrick. Okay. Next item is comments related to agenda items. Anybody has any comments? We do take comments throughout the whole meeting, so. Any comments at this time?
No comments.
Okay. Item 5, we do have Michael Lively of the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities here this evening for a presentation. I know Mike was here last week. We had a pretty busy agenda, and we asked him to return, and we appreciate you doing that, and waiting around and just for your professionalism, Mike. So whenever you're ready, you can come to the mic and.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, members of the council, thank you so much. As Mayor mentioned, my name is Michael Lively, and I'm the IT Director for the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I'm a fairly new employee. I'm in my 3rd month there, so I appreciate you allowing me to take the time. So I would like to take a few minutes to reintroduce you to the Cuyahoga DD and talk about what it is that we do. Our mission is to support and empower people with developmental disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in the community. We support more than 14,000 people with developmental disabilities in Cuyahoga County, and last year we served 19 people with developmental disabilities right here in Walton Hills. 2/3 of our $150 million budget comes from a 3.9 continuous levy that was last passed by the voters in 2005. From birth through adulthood, we support people with DD to live their best lives. We provide things like early intervention services, therapy like occupational and physical therapy and speech language pathology, consultative services to support students in schools, transition services for young adults, housing and employment supports, and assistive technology services. We have positioned the agency as a leader in the state when it comes to supporting people with disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in the community. Here are just a few notable examples. In 2003, we launched a program with Cleveland State University called CSU Rise, which aims to give students with disabilities a typical college experience while ensuring they're supported in ways that will help them be successful in college and beyond. We're also doing innovative work in housing. In 2022, we launched our TriTech Smart Apartments in Lakewood that allow adults with disabilities the opportunity to live with and determine what type of technology and adaptive equipment can help them live an independent life as they want. We partner with other youth services, serving county agencies such as DCFS and ADA MHS Board, in the Family and Children First Council to support young people in crisis. Together in 2022, we opened up the T-Suites and we are actively planning partners in the county's Children Wellness Campus. Lastly, we invest in communities in new ways. In 2021, we granted $700,000 to support 50 community libraries, arts and culture, and recreation and leisure organizations in making their programs and physical spaces accessible to people with all abilities. We have awarded over 200,000 community grants thus far in 2024. In addition to the work and supporting people with disabilities in Cuyahoga County, we strive to be a resource for communities, and we welcome the opportunity to talk more about how we can best support the residents of Walton Hills. Thank you for your time. And I do have some more handouts. So these are just different types of handouts that show all the services we do provide from birth all the way through adulthood. And it just provides a little overview. So if there's anyone that would, if you put these at community centers or anything that people can collect information, that's what we're here for. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Lively?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Mayor Prodraft, Mr. Lively. You gave us a lot of great information, and and you gave some examples of some community-based, like the CSU Rise, the TriTech Smart Apartments, is that what the note that I took. In this general 44146 zip code, are there any up and running like satellite offices or things moving in this particular area?
So we don't have any satellite offices. We used to run our own school systems, but we have since closed those schools down because it's better for individuals with developmental disabilities to be in the community rather than separate in schools. So we've closed those schools down, but we do have multiple offices that people can come to. But mainly we have support administrators that go into the community and they meet with families and individuals that we serve wherever they can. So a lot of times they'll go to their homes and different things. So they don't have to come to us, we can go to them.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you so much for your time.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Lively,
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you so
you.
much for everything, you guys, and being so supportive, so I'll leave these out in here.
And we'll keep you in mind, we might even mention, to, maybe for a senior lunch or something,
Okay.
to our recreation community life director,
Okay,
you know, to present stuff. You probably have, pamphlets and stuff related to programs?
we
too?
do, we have a lot of pamphlets, and these are just general information, and then, it can lead people to, just general information, and then obviously our website is the best place to go, because it will get you
Okay.
connected with someone that can provide those services.
Great. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Lively, is there a fee for any of these services that you provide?
No, it is all paid for, so, we are able to connect the individual that we're serving, with different, services, and then through there, it's paid through for, through, taxpayer money through the levy.
Thank you.
I have a question. Mr. Lively, as far as a developmental disability, is there a definition of that? Don't say anything. Is there a definition of that? She makes fun of me all the
Brian's
time.
with
As
me.
far as getting services, what criteria you have to meet?
So that's when we connect you with our intake office. They'll, talk with the families, talk with the individual, do the assessment. And so, yeah, anyone that was born with a developmental disability qualifies.
Okay, so that's all?
Correct.
You interview the person, or if, like I don't, but if I had like an aged, is elderly, like aged people with a, let's say, a pre-dementia or Alzheimer's, something like that?
That would not be included, so the service we provide, you'd have to be born with the disability.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're born with it, and so the earlier the intervention, as a young child,
I see.
we'll start from 0, and then as long as you have that, you've been diagnosed with that disability prior to age 19, we'll support you through your entire life.
Okay, that's good to know, thank you. But, Mr. Mayor, I did reach out to Mr. Lively today via email and asked him to bring some more, because I thought the community center would be a great place to put those, and have Natalie Buck is our recreation and community life director, and Mary works with her, and so we can certainly tell them about that information
Great.
in case somebody comes in.
Mayor
Yes,
Kohler.
go ahead.
Now, Mr. Lively, I think you said there was like 200,000 community grants, is that the number?
Yeah, so we help give community grants, and this year alone, we awarded 200,000.
That was this year alone,
This year alone, correct,
200,000
200,000.
dollars or the
$200,000.
actual grant?
Yeah,
$200,000.
correct.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if that was dollars or actual number of grants.
No, not number of grants,
Okay,
no,
that's a lot.
we wish, of course, but no, just $200,000 worth of grants, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it.
Any other questions? Any questions from the residents, or?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Lively, like our community center, everything is handicap accessible and everything, but like we have our TG Young Park, and the children that live in the community that are born and they are in wheelchairs, is there a grant or something that would make like a swing for
I'm
these
su- I'm-
children that could be?
I'm sure there could be, we can certainly get you in contact with, or I can reach out for members of our staff that could reach out and provide what we could do and how we can help.
Or even just for them to be able to get around
Correct.
that better? Right now, we have,
It's mostly grass.
it's grass, sawdust, whatever
Yeah.
we've got up there, and
Yeah,
these
so I
children
can-
are in wheelchairs.
I can certainly pass along the information, we'll get information back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That'd be great.
Thank you, sir.
Any other-
Appreciate it.
Any other questions for Mr. Lively? Okay, well, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you so much, appreciate it, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for understanding last week and stuff, too. I
Thank you so
felt
much.
bad for
Thank
that.
you.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you, Mike. Okay, that was item 5. We have item 6, which is finance discussion. Our 2025 budget. So we're gonna talk about that. I know we do have it on there for legislation. Would like to pass it tonight under suspension, unless there's other questions or things that people, aren't sure on, or council's not sure on. So, but I think Nikki's and Melissa got it down pretty well, and if you want to go through it, Nikki, and kind of explain some things, I know we got to revise, make sure, I guess we should all make sure, first of all, before you start, that we have the revised budget in front of us, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we'll let you go through that. And then I know we have the appropriations on the council meeting too, so I don't know if you just want to touch base on, of course, on that too, since we're in the COW meeting, and go from there.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you. Joe Gelati called me, okay, he has a missed call, and I don't know if it's something to do with something, even though we don't really have a, so I'm going to take that call real quick. Is that okay? Excuse me just for a second.
We can take a short recess.
No, you can keep going.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to go and take it. If it wasn't, because Joe usually don't call me at 6 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. It's just,
He might not know we started early.
he might not know about that. He might be thinking we have something, a motion, or I just want to make sure.
Sure.
I'll tell you real quick. But go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, so I did present everyone with a revised budget. The main revision on that was the ticket income, which we've been trying to kind of nail down and get a firm number for. You should all have the summary sheet. Our last budget included revenue based on 6,000 tickets. However, we had a meeting this morning with Garfield, John, me, Suzanne, and Melissa. We are only collecting about half of those tickets. So I had to reduce the revenue for that based on that information. So as you can see on the summary sheet, our new estimated revenue is going to be $555,000. In addition, we currently pay Garfield Heights $15,000 a month based on 750 tickets per month, which is about $9,000 a year. From what I understand, at the beginning of the year, next year, they will come back and they will sort of do an analysis of what we've paid and how much we collected, and they'll balance that out. What they do with those monies, I'm not sure of yet. That's still to be determined. If we get a credit, if we get a refund, if we end up owing more. So that's the basis of the $180,000. Then we also pay GATSO. However, GATSO we pay per paid citation. So I did reduce that expense. It is not per issued citation, it's per paid citation. So we did get some clarification this morning, and I felt I needed to amend the budget by those figures.
I have a question. I'm not sure if this is for Nikki, John, Melissa. You mentioned the 6,000 tickets written, and then the court typically collects about half. What happens to the other half? Are there people just don't pay, and are there any, follow-up from the court or the village, or how does that? If you don't, you just uncontested, just don't pay it. Do they just go away, or what happens?
I can't answer that.
I'm not sure. We weren't really aware of it till today, I gotta say. But, so we did reach out to GATSCO or the court today and asked them, we need to know this, what can we do? And we have been discussing perhaps a collection agency, which it sounds like we probably need to get. Yeah, assuming these are all judgments, I don't know if they just ignored it and, or not. So I gotta figure out what the $3,000 unpaid tickets are. They could be judgments that they need to be collected upon, or I'm not sure what they are. Today was the first time we really learned of it, so. And we did say that we needed to know, and then the gentleman from the court was gonna follow up with us. So we will do that.
So it could be a couple different buckets of not paid. I mean, you used the word judgment, so it could be 6,000 tickets written, and out of that 6,000, I'm just making this up, 4,500 people go to court, there's a judgment, 1,500 don't pay, and then the others just, you know, don't even show up. It could be
Yes,
a combination of things.
yes, sir.
Okay. But all we know is approximately 3,000 are collected, and that's
That's
what,
what
for the budget, that's what you're focusing on.
Yes, we use 3,300 because I think we're a little over 3,200 as of December 17th. So we just bumped it up a bit to cover through the last day of the year. Oh, I'm sorry, there's 3,300. There's 3,000 uncontested and 300 contested citations we based it on.
And then the contested citations, that, when that happens, there's the actual amount that the ticket holder pays could be reduced by the judge. Is that,
Yes.
Yes.
I actually have some input into that as well.
okay?
I attend those hearings, and, you know, some people, their situation is, you know, dire, and they're asking for mercy, so quite honestly, I usually give it to them, but otherwise, I don't. But maybe they're a student, maybe they're elderly on a fixed income, or maybe, you know, just, it's not often, we maybe get 4 or 5 a month or so, not that many, 300, I guess.
300.
So that would be maybe 10 a month, or thereabouts, or wait a minute, my math
15.
right, 15, whatever it is.
I do know that there's a small faction of people that think just because it's a speed camera, they don't have to pay it. And it is a civil fine,
Right.
because a police officer didn't give the ticket. And they just throw the ticket away. We had a gentleman come in here, remember, an ex-law enforcement officer. So I would like to see about getting more aggressive and I know you're gonna look into it, about collecting those, and how much that would be, and how much we would collect off of those collected tickets. I know when they turned it over to the municipal court, you had made a statement, something to the effect, I'll paraphrase, that since the municipal court levies the fine now instead of the mayor's court, it has a little different aspect to it as far as this needs to be paid. And maybe you can expand on that, maybe not, I don't know.
Just like, okay, Mayor, it's just,
Yeah, go ahead,
it's
go ahead.
basically a
Go
civil judgment against the individuals. It's actually a small claims case, in essence. It's a civil lawsuit against these people for the speeding citation. So if they don't pay, it could be rendered into a judgment. I'm not sure that all these are judgments or not, but if it is a judgment against the individuals, I guess they're banking on we won't collect it, we won't take it to collection. So we as recently as last week, we're talking with Susan about getting the Attorney General involved. They won't do the camera tickets. They'll only do the court tickets. And she worked with a company when she was in Newburgh that she was going to reach out to and get a proposal, I believe, or was waiting to hear if we wanted to pursue that. So I'm glad that you discussed it tonight. I'll tell her to proceed to get a proposal.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Jen.
So, Nikki, on the revenue side, line item 1,619,0017 for 25, is that still
This one?
correct? Yeah,
555?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the new number.
okay.
Nicole?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're
it
back,
doesn't,
Mr.
no, it
Mayor.
doesn't, go ahead.
Nicole, on the legislation itself, 2024-20, oh, this is for year 24. This is not the 25
Correct.
budget. This is a 24, I'm sorry, the next one, 2024-21. That's the 25 budget. On page 2, you have the wrong, it's the wrong year, it's just a typo. It says total 2023 permanent
Okay,
appropriations. So that should be 25, correct?
correct.
And I had asked Nicole, and she's going to get us the additional information. I could see on the, well, I haven't had time to look at the new ones, but on the previous revision that Nicole gave us, I could find the 6.438 million and the other numbers that are in there, but as far as the other funds, I would like to have the, you know, before we used to get the Form 52, and it listed all the funds, the revenues and expenses for each funds, and most of these funds don't have revenue, they just have inputs to them. But we're just seeing the expenses here. And for our purposes, looking at this, it kind of looks like we're spending another $4 million to get to $10 million, and that's not the case. See what I mean? I'd like to see the form where it lists everything, so it's a net zero for these, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
For instance, the street fund, the 290,400, we're expecting income of exactly 290,400. Rob and I went through the budget line items, and that's items that they would spend in repairing and maintaining the streets.
Yeah.
But I can get that information over to you tomorrow.
Yeah, whenever, just as long as we're clear with it, that these are net zero items, it's all accounted for. And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Councilman
Nick.
Thank you, sir. For this year's budget, there's a net, take this down to a nutshell for us. There's a net increase of about, is it 20,000 or the 33,000 in our budget? We're transferring 20,250, right?
Are you still looking at the ordinance?
I'm looking at 2024-20, the ordinance, yes.
Oh, correct, yes. However, it may not make that full impact depending on where we end up in other line items. So we're close to the year end. We'll have some numbers for you before year end.
Okay, but you'd like us to pass this just to be covered?
Correct.
So we don't go over our allotted, voted expenditures?
Correct, and most of these are in reference to the salaries.
So just in layman's term, how do you see us finishing 2024? In the black?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we want to hear. Not by a lot, but what, about between $20,000 and $30,000, correct? Somewhere around there, or maybe
For
more?
2024?
Yes.
No, actually, we're going to end up 2024 with a deficit.
Oh, okay.
Can you,
I'm sorry.
can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, kind of.
We're going to end up with a deficit for sure. I didn't actually print that form, so I don't want to make any comment on where we are so far.
Okay.
But I don't even want to guess, actually.
Okay.
Looking at our prior month's financial statements, if you have that, though, I believe we were at, I don't know if I have a copy, do you?
What is that you gave us?
Yeah,
So yes, if you look at your financial statement summary,
Yes, that's where I thought I got that
our
from.
expenditures have exceeded our revenues by $682,294.96 as of November 30th.
If I follow, never mind, okay. So how do you view 2025, I thought?
2025 is on this, here, the finance.
Right.
So 2025, we're looking at a deficit of about $285,066, yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Brett.
Unless there's no way to figure, those court costs though, or that may or may not come in.
She said that would be very difficult. I think Garfield also said it would be very difficult to have a number for that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Nicole, so we pay Garfield $15,000 a month, and where does that money go to? Just for like the judge, and if something goes to court? Because most people, you get a $200 ticket in the mail, you just mail it in.
Right, so that includes an estimated amount of tickets of $750 per month, and that is a number that they sort of figured as our budget for the year, so we're paying them $15,000 no matter what, and that does include the $20 fee that we,
Okay, so we're not paying a
Yes.
fee on
No.
top of that
No, 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 no.
15,000, and it's mainly for the contested tickets, is where the expenses all really go to?
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
My understanding was it's for them processing the tickets.
right, so they're
So
charging us
just because
$20
they're
per
handling it.
ticket. For 750 tickets, that's 15,000. And at the end of, from what I understand, he said next month they'll do a reconciliation to see where we're at.
Okay.
And whether we get a credit or a refund or how they work that, I am not sure of yet.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
can maybe shed a little light, Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, it's on every ticket. When someone, when they modified the law and challenged the law, they said every ticket has to go through the municipal court. You can no longer just mail them in and avoid that court cost fee. They all have to go through that, and the court has to manage all these tickets. So every ticket, whether they pay voluntarily or not, is charged a $20 fee. And then the 15,000 was an estimate. We probably have a positive balance going forward. I know we do.
Right.
So we asked them, are you going to get a refund? How are we going to handle that? So they'll probably keep it, and I doubt they'll refund it, but maybe they will. But there's also a bill at the end of the year. These are just the camera tickets. There's also a bill sent for all communities about their portion of the total cost of running the court, which is based on the number of tickets filed in each community, the criminal cases, the civil cases that arise out of those communities, and the camera tickets that arise out of those communities. Those total number of cases are whatever the costs are, whatever the deficit they're running at is. Hopefully they're not running at a deficit, but they are, and like most courts, I gotta say, not many courts profit. But anyway, so they have a deficit, so they send a bill out to all the communities based on the volume of which that community generated, civil cases, camera cases, criminal cases, and they portion it that way. Whether, that's fair, that's the formula they've been using for years. And we did get a bill last year for how much that was, like,
It was around $34,000,
on top of the camera fees.
correct.
In reality, though, if they would have considered the overpayment on the camera fees, we probably wouldn't owed anything, but for some reason, they haven't refined the process that much. Hopefully, that's what we talked with them about today, to see how can we fix this so that we aren't running, that we're more accurate. So he was going to talk to the judge and perhaps set up a meeting with the judge, and so we're waiting to hear back. It's the way it's been for years. It's not just, but because of the higher volume of the traffic case tickets, we're paying a little more court costs than we normally would. But like if somebody files a eviction in Walton Hills, that case is counted against us for it being a Walton Hills case. Or a civil lawsuit from somebody sues somebody for money, and the person lives in Walton Hills, and they somehow count that as a cost to I guess that's the fair way to do it. It must be, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it.
Nick, where you guys were at, you wanted anything else, or were you going through? I know we hammered out the budget pretty good the last, 3 months? 2-3 months. We started early and really have worked hard on it. And I know Nikki and Melissa worked with the department heads on it too. And we're going to pass an operating budget, hopefully, and then look at all the capitals individually. Yes.
I got maybe one more thing to add. We do receive a check from Garfield every once in a while for the fines that people pay for our tickets, our regular tickets, not our camera tickets. I don't know how much that was last year, but it could be close to, I don't know how, hopefully we made 10, 20 grand. I'm not 100% sure how much we made, but they should be sending us a check. Or they
Mr. Mayor,
deduct it.
they do send a check every month, and they give me a list of what they're sending it for. So I think the most recent deposit was 24,000, around 24,000.
But that included the traffic tickets, I believe. I mean, the
That is-
camera tickets. But then we should also maybe get a check for like fines on regular speeding cases, although we have a mayor's court, so we don't have that many of them. But if those cases were to be transferred to Garfield Court, we may get that money transferred back to us, but we would lose the court cost. But it's a little complicated, but or maybe they just wait till the end of the year to see if we have a positive, and then maybe they deduct it as to what our bill is. It's a little complicated, I don't want to guess, but we might get a check from them every once in a while for regular cases.
Well, you're saying we get the monthly
For the traffic
for
cameras,
the
correct?
traffic cameras, yeah, not, John's talking civil cases, okay.
Or the other criminal cases, like a regular speeding ticket that nobody, didn't want to resolve here at the mayor's court, or, or the police chose to file the case over in Garfield rather than here because the charges were more serious, and there was a fine levied, and that if they keep it under local code, we should get a credit or a check mailed to us somehow, some way. I
Does
think
anything in particular council wants to go through on the budget? Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, Mayor, I had a question for Nicole, and you may have explained this prior meeting, because I know you made some adjustments how you code street maintenance and repair. I believe that's the one.
Correct.
Okay, so under street maintenance and repair, other, this is on the expenditures on page 5. Page 5. And it's the line, count code 62221, medical hospitalization. Can you kind of like highlight the expenditure, the anticipated expenditure there, $181,200? Can you?
Yes. So that would be the amount that we're paying for medical insurance for the service department employees, plus an additional 15%, which was estimated by Oswald to go up next year. So we took this year's amount that we pay and increased it by 15%.
Okay, so where would, is this is, that number was not in that same line item last year? Last year it was showing the 19,000.
Mr.
This
Mayor?
one has 181, so.
Nicole, was that
Go ahead, John.
because I believe we took all of the service department, that George used to be, our mechanic, was the only person in that line item under street maintenance. And all of the other service department personnel were on a different line item.
So where would you see the deduction? Where would you see the?
That would have been in the 2011. They were getting charged all of their salaries to the fund 2011, and we were supplementing that fund every year. So it made more sense to me, and I think we have discussed this in the past,
Right.
to move those salaries into the general fund and not supplement the street fund.
Correct, okay,
So that's where that big difference is.
okay.
We're hoping Oswald does a good job, and they do, but when Nikki and Melissa talked to, would you talk to Mike?
Yes.
He gave that number of 15%, because at that time, or how it looks, that's where the increases are falling in for other municipalities. But there's a good chance it could come in less than that, which would be a benefit to us. Or it could come in higher, but he basically said he doesn't predict it higher from what we understand. I mean, that's a very real number there. We're hoping it comes in less.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Nikki, I had a question almost about the same thing, but it was the opposite. Under recreation, the medical hospitalization went from over 15,000 to 7,800.
Which line item are you looking at? 310, 222?
221.
So the reason being is that we currently have an employee who is working, who is supposed to be a part-time employee, but last year reached hours that would be considered full-time for health insurance benefits.
Okay.
So though that 7,800 would be the amount through our renewal period to cover her medical expenses.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Nicole, on the very first line of, on page 1, the fund balance, the general fund balance went from 2.4 million to 991,000. That was because we transferred a lot of money out into the funds that should have had those funds in them before, correct?
The 991 was actually taken probably from last year's budget. That is not a current fund balance. That's as of 1/1/23. If you look back on the last page, the 991 is current, which is, I'm sorry, 2024, 1/1/24. So if you look at the second column, or the third column over, down at the bottom,
On which page?
on
The last-
page 8,
Okay.
you see the 991, and that was the budget figures. It was not actual. Or actually, I would check actually if that was actual, but I believe that those were the balances as of 1/1/24, the beginning fund balance.
Which line is that? I'm sorry, I don't see it. The 991,000?
Brian, are you on?
On page 8, if you look at the very bottom where it says total revenues and
Yeah.
expenditures, just above that, the third column over with the double line.
Oh, I see. 991, that was,
So that was our estimated budget beginning 1/1/24.
no, you mean 1/1/25.
No, it was 1/1/24. 1/1/25 would be the 1,021,914 in the next column over.
Then why do you have on page 1 the fund balance under 25, 991?
Because that's the beginning balance of, oh, I'm sorry, you are right. It's the beginning balance of 25, ending balance of 24. I'm getting my years confused.
Yeah, okay, so it's the beginning balance of 25.
Correct.
The current fund balance, which may, as we understand that's going to be off somewhat because the year is not complete, is a little bit over 2.4 million. So we didn't have a $1.5 million deficit in the general fund. What I'm getting at is I remember you, if I'm remembering correctly, we took a lot of transfers out of the general fund to fund other funds, and that's why that precipitous drop. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure of that.
So that is, Mr. Mayor, that is the budget number. If you look at our financial statements again, there's a cash summary by fund. I believe it's the third page in, and it shows the beginning fund balance in 2024 for the general fund of $2,442,775. So that would be the actual.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Nikki, the property tax allocation, it went from 687,000 down to 40,000 for 25?
So that was another line item that I corrected
Okay.
per our software. So if you look at the property taxes at the top of the page of 615,
Okay.
those, and then you add that 40,
Uh-huh.
that's actually, we get 2 payments, I believe, a year
Okay.
for kind of an assessment for that House Bill.
Okay.
3, I forget what number it is,
Mhm.
615 maybe.
And that's why in 24, that is a $0 amount.
Correct. The posting was all under the second
Mhm.
line item.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would recommend that we pass this evening, understanding that there is no capital in here for next year, and we are going to take a look at how the year progresses before we allocate more funds to capital. This does include, as Nicole said last week, and she has it in the documentation, a 2% increase. This year retroactive for non-bargaining employees, correct?
Correct.
And a 2% for next year, correct?
There's legislation, I believe, for that
Yeah.
tonight, yes.
Yeah, but it's included in here.
The 2020, yes, in the 2025 budget
Yes.
includes the increase for this year plus an additional for next year.
Okay, good.
Oh, last question, if I could, Nikki. On the front page, the very bottom, I think my page 1 of 2 overwrote that number.
Yes,
Oh.
mine did also. So that is going to be the finance department, and I can't read it, but I can get it to you.
Okay.
And that is actually the money that we received from the JED,
Okay.
but I can get you that number.
Sure, no, I was looking at it, at first I was like,
Yeah, I
It
think
looks
it's
like another
smeared on all of ours.
25,000.
26? Went up to 326,000?
The page number wrote over it.
You could read it. You have to look through it.
Is everybody comfortable with, I can just kind of, I will go through it in the council meeting too, but I know the focus of the COW meeting was to discuss, of course, the budget and the appropriations. Anything on the appropriations, 2024-20 and 24, well, one of them is actual budget. 2021, I know we went through the budget. How about the appropriations for 24? Everybody okay with that? You might have went through a little bit of that while I was taking the call from Joe. So if you did, that's fine. I'm just kind of going through that, and if everybody's good with that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
I just want to say to Nikki and Melissa, thank you for the exceptional work that you guys have been doing and how many hours putting in and straightening out things for us and getting us back on track and making sure everything's going into the right spot. I know it's a ton extra work, but thank you, seriously.
Well, thank you. We're trying. We still have some work to do, but we're getting there.
It's all right.
Any other questions for the budget tonight? I'd like to ask for, as Council President Spitzenagel mentioned, I'd like to ask for council to pass both amending the appropriations for 24 and, of course, our operating budget, those permanent appropriations. I'd like to see if we could pass those under suspension if everybody's comfortable. Any other questions? I got a couple things under other business I could just share real quick, and then we can take a few minute break and get right into our council meeting. Okay. Just other business, we did have, you mentioned the JED, we did have our annual JED meeting today. Myself, Nikki, and Tom Jordan. It went went real well. So everything's good there. They did talk a little bit about the state putting another building in, but it's separate from the hospital there, but it would be on that property. But they didn't really go into a lot of detail because the CEO of the hospital really isn't involved in that, except he knows they might build another building, but it's not part of the hospital itself or them supporting it. They wouldn't have any staff there. It'd be separate entity that the state's gonna put there, if that happens, so. And then the other thing that Joe's call was, and I know this is for 25, but he thought, he didn't realize we're having a COW meeting, and this is just where it's at now. The final awards will come in February, as you know, but right now, the OPWC methodology maximum points, we are ranked number 1 for Ryan, Drive-In, Sealy with, yeah, we have 64 points out of 8 communities, so that's good, but I don't want to, he just kind of wanted me to share that with you, but they can be contested in different things, so we won't know for sure until actual February. So even if there's any residents, I don't want to say that we've been awarded yet, because we haven't been. He's just saying and I can share this with you, that he said this is a public record, that this has come out. So that's a good news. We're ranked number 1. That's all I really have. We want to ask for adjournment, and then unless anybody has anything else, then we can go into the council meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I just had one more question for Nicole. On the appropriations for 2024, see the additional, are you close to having, I know you've got a couple weeks left, what the total appropriation for 2024 might look like, and when will we see that number?
Well, 2024 won't be complete until the end of December. We will probably still be working to get the last few items into January. So I would expect probably second to third week in January, we'll have a good number. We should have everything in. Because we have another payroll at least. So we're trying to keep everything up to date as much as we can. So yeah, I would expect second or third week in January.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to say, I had an event Sunday at the community center, and the event coordinator we had was phenomenal. So Brian, thank you very much.
You're
Not you. Brian from Rawlin Drive. He was really great. He was very helpful, and hopefully he got fed a lot.
Good.
Along with our police officer that was there, Debbie.
And I wasn't invited.
Nope.
Well, good. That's a nice compliment for our employees.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Diane.
speaking of Joe Gelati, he isn't here tonight, but he wasn't expected. I really appreciate all the information he gives us and the hard work. This whole year, it seems like he's really done a phenomenal job for the village. His heart is definitely into helping us every which way we possibly can with these grants.
I would agree. I think, just overall, everybody has been taxed a lot more, just because a lot of things happening in the village, and you've seen it from the engineering to service to the administration, the police, because of some of the development going on. There's a lot there. So, and everybody kind of touches it one way or another. So that's just a added thing. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And but, we had our JED meeting today, and they were talking about the walking trail and some of the items that go through that property there. And Jeff Schnell, who's the attorney for Sagamore Hills, said, well, we use Cuyahoga Valley Engineering if you need told the hospital CEO if you need some assistance. And then I said, well, we use them too, so it's a great marriage that we're all on the same page, so. Okay, well, thank you for, any other business at this time? Any comments from any residents? Okay, we have anything there? Okay. All right, can I ask for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adjournment of tonight's COW.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:01 PM. Thank you, everybody. Before we start, does anybody want to take a break for just a second? Maybe have to go to the restroom or anything before we go right into the council meeting, or you want to go right into the council meeting? Okay, if everybody's good, we'll move right into the council meeting. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, December 17th, 2024 at 7:02 PM. Next, item 2 is Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I would like to ask for item 3, a moment of silence for our deceased residents, John Jazak and Mark Lurchbacher. Thank you, everybody. Roll call, please.
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Present.
Okay, all of council present, along with our fiscal officer Nicole Sell, our fiscal clerk Melissa Sandgrick, and our law director John Montello. Before I ask for this motion, I'd just like to make a comment. We are going to go into executive session. We'll go into the conference room in the office there, so you're welcome to stay here. When we do come back out and reconvene, we are going to go through our regular council meeting with legislation that we will address tonight. So just want to let you know we will conduct our regular meeting after we reconvene. If I had to guess, for residents that are here and might want to stay, I don't really, council help me, I don't really think it's going to be a long executive session. We have discussed last week some of these items in executive session. We just need a little more clarification, and and I can always, if I think it's going to be longer, if the residents decide to stay, pop out and let you know if it's going to be longer, if you would like. So at this time, I'd like to ask for go ahead, John.
I was going to say, in case, for those who aren't going to stay tuned, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year,
Yes, I would like to say, thank you, John. Okay, yes. Merry Christmas to you guys. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to convene into executive session to discuss pending or imminent court action, to discuss personnel matters regarding dispatchers, and to discuss non-bargaining employee compensation.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, 5-0, to go into executive session at 7:05. Yes, Mr. Pin.
You weren't good. You don't get anything this year. Lump of coal, you didn't even get that.
brought him some road apples.
Oh.
Did you get your shopping done?
Here, Fred, I'll get you in the holidays.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll be,
That's what most of the week is for.
I know.
I'll talk,
I'll talk. Gift cards.
Good night.
Good night, good night.
Oh, God.
Right.
Are we back on?
All right. Are we ready? So what was that, about a half hour? So that was kind of one of our shorter, that's okay.
No.
We are back from executive session. Could I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene from the executive session.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, we have reconvened from executive, council has reconvened from executive session at 7:34 PM.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 15th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes.
Second?
second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, minutes approved. We got item 8. Who would like to make that motion?
Mr. Mayor, I can make it.
Okay.
On behalf of council, I'd like to make a motion to allow non-bargaining unit employees a 2% raise for 2024, retroactive to January 1, 2024, and a 2% raise for 2025, commencing January 1, 2025, and to amend the respective budgets accordingly.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Allen. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, motion 5-0, thank you, everybody. Okay, we have item 9. Anybody having business before council? Okay, any questions from our live stream? Anybody that's watching a live stream at this time?
No.
Okay, I'll do the mayor's report here. I always have it all organized, but then it changes during the meeting here. All right, let's see, there's the. There it is. Okay. We have the mayor's court revenue for the, no, this isn't, that is, I do have the mayor's court revenue here for the month of November 2024. For that month of November, the revenue was $19,431. Year-to-date was $221,077.93. Last year-to-date was $227,715.59. Okay, the police report for the month of November 2024. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 66 citations in the month of October. The predominant violation was speed with 24 citations issued, followed by 10 citations issued for expired plates and 5 citations issued for driving under suspension. We had 4 arrests for driving while under the influence of alcohol/drugs.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not good.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
you said that was October's?
no, that was November's.
Okay, that's, I thought it usually is, that's why.
Oh, you know what I did? Sometimes that number thing, it's titled November and then had November, October in for the thing. Sometimes I forget to change them. So that was for November. I
Okay.
might have read October there. the heading is November, but I might have read the October. It was for November.
Okay.
Thank you, Jen, for pointing that out. So we got that. Okay, any council comments at this time?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Nielsen.
I'd just like to thank Councilman Spitznagel for the work he's done on our budget. The extra work and the extra time. I know you've put a lot of work and a lot of time.
Oh, I didn't want to thank you, but they're the ones that put the time in.
No, and I've watched, you've taught me a lot since I've been on council, and you've really gone out of your way.
Well,
I
thank
feel.
you.
And I'd also like to thank the mayor for inviting Santa. 16 years he's invited Santa, and he's shown up 16 years. It's like he knows him personally.
It's true.
It's amazing.
Yep.
But I from all the comments about Santa delivery, it was all positive, and what a great thing that we have here in this village. So I'd just like to thank the mayor.
I'll let Santa know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Santa has truly enjoyed every year doing it, so. He told me so. And thank you, Council President Spitznagel, and all of council. If this turns out to be our last meeting, I think we're kind of all going in that direction, but we'll talk a little bit about that under other business before we adjourn. So I'll kind of keep moving here. Any other council comments at this time? Okay. We have legislation. I'm just going to go through it. I think we talked about it quite a few meetings, and I'll just ask for someone to introduce it as we go. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yes.
And then if we need any discussion with it, we can do that. So I'll just go right through it. We have item 12, which is legislation. We have ordinance 2024-18. Does anybody want to discuss any of that, or would somebody like to introduce it?
Mayor, I just had one question, and not on so much on the legislation itself, but if anybody has any idea of the process of how long it will take before this actually, changes on the actual tickets and notifying the court and all of, is it probably like a February, March kind of period before all of that stuff is those changes are done once this legislation is passed?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Nikki? Or I might have to get back to you where John, with Suzanne, or what do you?
We had Mayor, we had a telephone conference with the representative from Gadsco. When was that? This week or last week? Might have been Friday or Thursday, Friday, or was
Yeah, it was
Monday?
last week.
But anyway, he says as soon as you get it to him, and he will get it implemented. What they may have to update the machines. I don't know. He was talking a few things. So I think he's eager to resolve it and get it moving. It means more money for them as well. So I would hope that they implement it right away. They have to amend the notices to send them out, and so we're hoping to get a response back from him. I would guess. When did we tell him? I think maybe even this week. I'm not sure when he said he would get back to us, but probably won't be till after the
And we can
holiday.
update you with that. Council, we can update council with that so everybody's aware.
Is there there will be a public notice to kind of go with this as well? Something, website type kind of a thing, but,
Oh, I don't know about that.
I
You
would-
want that? I mean, I don't know what, I don't,
I don't know how you.
Isn't it just public by it being an ordinance? I mean, they could just
yeah, that's all right.
read
We'll
what we
find out
have.
when if they speak.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, unless you want us to change something, we can always do that after the first of the year. Council feels, we're not changing the fines that haven't been updated in 7 years. So we're just updating our fines that haven't been increased in 7 years. So if there's any question on that, I think we've been very, very fair there. I don't know if there's too many any type of entity that hasn't increased any type of fees in 7 years, and we're not changing the speeds relating to that. So that is still the same, which you're aware of. Correct? We're just changing the fine amounts.
Correct. And it should be in the newsletter, I'm sure, when you publish, legislations that's been passed, it'll be in the.
Yeah, that's a good point. The amounts have been, but this will be in the journal. All our legislation goes in the journal,
Okay.
so. But if we need to do something down the road, we can always talk about it. Any other questions related to ordinance 2024-18? Who would like to introduce it?
I will.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Kanzoni.
I'd like to introduce for suspension Resolution Number 2024-18, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2017-22, which enacted Section 414.035 Traffic Law Photo Monitoring Devices of the codified ordinances of the Village of Walton Hills and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed. Councilman Kanzoni.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption for Resolution 2024-18.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, legislation passed 5-0. Thank you, everybody. We have item B, which is ordinance 2024-19. Any questions on that before I ask to vote on that? Any questions? Okay. Who would like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Nielsen.
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 2024-19, an ordinance increasing the Walton Hills Mayor's Court cost and criminal and traffic violations and declaring an emergency.
For suspension, correct?
For suspension.
Second.
Second on suspension. Councilman Spitznagel. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed. Councilman Nielsen.
Yes, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance number 2024-19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian Spitznagel. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passed. Under suspension, 5-0. We have item C, ordinance 2024-20. Any questions on that? I know we talked quite a bit about that before our meeting, in our COW meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Allen.
I'd like to ask for suspension of ordinance number 2024-20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2024-3, making additional appropriations for current expenditures of the Village of Walton Hills, Ohio during the year 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Allen.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2024-20.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 5-0. Passed under suspension. Okay, we have item D, ordinance 2024-21. Any questions on that? I know that was something else we discussed for quite a few months, plus worked with Nikki and Melissa, and also discussed it in our COW meeting this evening. Who would like to introduce that for suspension?
Mayor Colerac. Mayor Colgraf,
Councilman Whedon.
members of council, I'd like to introduce for suspension of the 3 reading rule, ordinance number 2024-21, an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Walton Hills, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025, and ending December 31, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Allen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mayor Colgraf, members of council, I'd like to ask for the adoption of ordinance number 2024-21.
Second.
Okay, vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passed under suspension. Thank you. We have item E, resolution 2024-36.
Mr. Mayor,
Any questions on that? Okay. Councilman Spitznagel.
I'd like to make a motion, this
we're
doesn't
not-
have to be under suspension.
Wait a
correct?
minute.
Yes,
Wait, okay. We're on item E, right?
Yes.
Resolution 2020, okay, you said motion, that's why I
I'm
asked.
sorry,
I was thinking you were
I'd
thinking
like
about your
to-
minutes.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like to ask for suspension for Resolution 2024-36, a resolution authorizing a settlement agreement and release of all claims by and between the claimant in EEOC charge number 22A-2024-3948 in the Village of Walton Hills.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay, suspension passed. Mr. Spitznagel?
I'd like to ask for,
Councilman Spitznagel?
I'm sorry, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2024-36.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Begrudgingly, yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Pass 5-0 on suspension. Okay. Now we have old and new business. I know I did mention that news, what Mr. Gelati shared with us. Thank you, council, for working so hard, and Melissa, Nikki, for spearheading everything when it comes to the budget, and also to all the department heads for working with you with both of you and all of us, and understanding the importance of passing an operating budget and then looking at capital items individually, just to continue to do a great job of being fiscally responsible. Appreciate that, and look forward to 2025. I think we're going to have a good year. We are looking, hopefully, at maybe a few more buildings, or at least another one. Great Day, which is going in the first building, was just in Cranes again. On Monday, one of the fastest growing companies in the area. I think they were number 3 in the area. So that's a great day thing, a good thing. So nice to see that. We're having a very solid company coming into that first building. Of course, Cardinal Health is looking for their occupancy permit, and that means they're going to be moving in hopefully in the first quarter with their employees. The only other thing I really have, I will thank everybody for just, our not only Santa delivery, but tree lighting and everything else that has gone on through the year. It's been good. Relationship with the Lake Club, just kind of summing everything up. And mentioning the great job Councilman Spitznagel has done as council president, as in the past with the other council presidents, and just being a council member. This position's only as good as the board that supports you. I did want to say, though, we do have to think about council president when we do come back in the first of the year. You're all aware of that, but just kind of think about that, and that's something you work out among yourselves. But usually we try to do that our first meeting in January, correct? Not the council meeting, our first meeting, I think it's,
I have to visit that.
but regardless whether it's the first meeting, it's gonna be in January.
Yeah, whatever.
It's gonna be in January, so I just kind of want to throw that out there to think about that, maybe after Christmas or whatever, start talking among yourselves, if you haven't. But that's really all I have under other business, besides just wishing our residents Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And couldn't do it without our residents either. It's just a great place to live and work. But thank our employees, everybody. So, anybody else have anything they want to add under other business before I ask for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Last week, on the...
Oh, yeah, I forgot
yeah,
that,
on the 10th,
Sorry.
we had an information committee meeting. I did send out a draft minutes, which I did spell Mary Delansky's name wrong the first time. I had to revise that. But I did send out minutes to the other committee members, Mr. Nielsen and Mrs. Canzoni. So I'd like to ask for this time if they would like to approve those draft minutes, and then I'll get those. If it's approved this evening, I'll get those to everybody. So I'd like to ask the committee members, Mr. Nielsen and Mrs. Canzoni, for approval of those draft minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
And I say yes, so
Can I,
it's
do
3
I make a
ayes.
motion?
You can
or-
make, oh yeah,
oh.
you can make a motion, yeah,
Okay,
that,
I'd like to-
John would like that better.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve our committee meeting minutes from
The 7th,
This-
12th,
December
I'm
7th,
sorry, 10th,
10th.
10th, 12,
December
10.
10th, 2024.
Can I get a second? Seconded by Mr. Nielsen, and vote on the motion, Mrs. Canzoni,
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
And myself, yes, so 3 ayes approved, so I'll get those to everybody, the mayor, and to Nicole, of course, council, whatever your title.
After all that.
And Merry Christmas, everybody. I wish everybody here happy, healthy holidays and even more of a new year. Thank you.
Goes quick, doesn't it?
Agreed.
Boy, a year flies by. Any other council members?
I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas also, all the residents, council, administration, mayor.
All of our
It's
employees.
been, all the employees, yes, everyone, neighbors, friends, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and it's been a pleasure serving everyone here in the village of Walton Hills this year. Thank you.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yes,
Yeah, just,
Councilman Weed.
I'd just like to wish the, council, viewers, all of our residents, and the others, employees as well, happy holidays to each and every one of you, however you celebrate. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, if that applies, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, and any others that may not be called out. Happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Well agreed, Mayor. I agree with everyone on that, and I'm super thankful, especially for our employees, for all the work that they do behind the scenes without getting a lot of credit for it here. Service department, our police department, our rec department. And I wish everybody the best, the villagers included especially.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Nielsen.
I would like to send along my best wishes for everybody too in the new year, and a happy Christmas. 65 years of Christmases here, and it's a great place to live, great place to be. And I hope it keeps on.
It It will. It's great working with everybody in 24 and looking forward to 25. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Oh, do you? Come on up to the mic, Jeff.
Jennifer, while he's coming up, if you'd like to say something nice about me.
Your tie is very sparkly.
That was nice.
That's the best you could do.
I know.
Jeff Alexander, 7312 Walton Road. If you can elaborate a little bit on item E, on the resolution?
Which is, if item E is one thing, I can give we'll let Mr. Item E, we'll let our council elaborate on it. Okay, I'll let you,
That's just a claim was filed with the EEOC, a claim was filed with the EEOC by a former employee, which council and the recommended, our legal counsel recommended that we settle, as well as the insurance company for financial reasons, and that's what we did.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
we are unable to say any more than that. I'm sorry.
If you have any questions, you're welcome to contact Mr. Montello or John Pinzone from our insurance company. Okay? Any other questions? I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment of our council meeting for Tuesday, December 17th, 2024.
Is it second by Councilman Nielsen? Vote on the adjournment.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 7:59. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week and a nice Christmas if I don't see everybody, and good holidays. And I'm sure we'll talk before the first of the year, of course.
Mike,
Okay.
sir.